Good day, citizens of the free world, from border to border, coast to coast, and to all the ships at sea. I bring you a warm welcome. This is your correspondent, Jim Tate, and thank you for tuning in to the Tate Chronicles. Join me as we cut through the fog that exists at the leading edge of healthcare technology. Our mission? Searching for beneficial disruption in healthcare from emerging technologies. I'm very pleased today that my guest is Karim Babay. He's the chairman and CEO of HealthSapiens, a nationwide healthcare provider that delivers on-demand access to healthcare anywhere, anytime via mobile devices, the internet, video, and phone. Karim, thanks for joining us on the Tate Chronicles today.
It's my pleasure, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to the discussion. First off, could you give us a little background on your company? When did it form, and what problems does it intend to solve?
Of course. So, Jim, if you think about us as we are collapsing the barriers between providers of care and seekers of care. So HealthSapiens connects patients directly to doctors 24/7, which make it easier for people to be engaged with their health. So we've been in business over the last 5 years. We've built and grown our subscription-based platform. You pick up a phone or log in into your member portal, and in a few minutes, whatever time of the day it is, you can speak, video conference a physician that is properly board certified in your state. We have 1,000 doctors in our network, and we currently serve north of 22,000 patients across 50 states and Puerto Rico.
Now, there are a number of other initiatives in this space doing telehealth. What makes your company different from other related telehealth services?
Well, I mean, as you know, Jim, every company strives to differentiate ourselves, and certainly you've done a great job differentiating ourselves from the rest of healthcare providers, including some of our competitors. Healthcare is a tremendous and enormous industry. First of all, we offer unlimited consultation. So instead of charging patients per consultation, we charge them just a monthly subscription of just $14.95 for an individual, and $19.95 for a family of up to 6 dependents with no copay, and our doctors can write you and send you a prescription to your closest pharmacy. So for us, the barriers to care that has been imposed by insurance carriers such as copay, limited network, inability to see a doctor. On average, it takes you 4 weeks to schedule an appointment with your primary care doctor. High deductibles. We have eliminated all of those, making it seamless for patients to be in touch with doctors and, more importantly, to be in touch with their health. So with HealthSapiens 2.0, which is obviously the enhanced version of HealthSapiens 1.0, we're building on our past success and developing a decentralized healthcare ecosystem that incentivizes and rewards good behavior.
Well, that's part of what I want to discuss with, because from what I've read and learned about HealthSapiens, your vision is beyond telehealth. There's also in development a legacy system for extraction from your EHRs, maybe maintained by other doctors, and a way to possibly share data and have it monetized with researchers. So talk to me a little bit about that legacy system that you're talking about.
So before I talk about it, let me explain to you how we got into, obviously thinking about how we build a peer-to-peer system. So when we first embark on building HealthSapiens, a lot of people ask us to obviously try to associate ourselves with an insurance carriers because they have the client, they have the distributions. We actually refused because we didn't want to become a byproduct of an insurance carrier. We truly believe in our product, and more importantly, we truly believe in the vision that patients and doctors should actually be freely able to interact, including having data on patients, owned by patients, as opposed to data right now, unfortunately, sitting across 55 silos, electronic medical record systems scattered across the country. So with that, obviously, we decided that blockchain could be, the solution to a problem that has existed for so many years. Remember, when all these silos have been built to protect data, when you're thinking about, silos that have been built post-World War II, pre-internet. But now, data has been accumulated across many years, and none of us own their respective data. So I think it's time for us to build systems that speak to these silos and at the same time maintain the integrity of the data and the property of the data. So data has been generated by the patients, and it should belong to the patients. It's like a hard-earned dollar that you earn. It sits in a bank account, but it's still your dollar. And that's what we're trying to kind of build.
Sure, and I agree with that totally. Individuals' health data and their DNA data is routinely licensed to private companies, and everybody gets a piece of that pie except the person who actually is the core of that data. So I know what totally you're talking about. So this legacy system, is that part of this version 2.0 that you're talking about?
I think, it's a continuum and part at the same time. So currently with HealthSapiens 1.0, healthcare data can be inputted by a patient or a subscriber. Or an EMR data can be inputted or updated by one of our healthcare staff following a consultation. So once you have a consultation with a doctor, or it can be actually accessed and obviously properly reviewed in the future. However, the current third-party silo healthcare data structures that I just spoke about make data portability difficult. So we're very limited to what data could be aggregated and how fast. And that's what we have built for HealthSapiens 1.0, our own electronic medical record, for a variety of reasons. One is HIPAA compliance, and two, we are getting data from clients or patients, and we do believe that data should be owned by them. So when you log into our system, if you're a member, and I highly encourage anybody to be a member, because for 50 cents a day, you have unlimited access to obviously unlimited care. You could see the previous consultations, you see the doctors, you see obviously your history with us, and it's yours. So you can download it onto a PDF, you can share it with whoever providers you want to. Very few systems out there give the patients the ability to own that data. Not only that, but they'll also seamlessly share that data with other providers. Remember, there's a lot of duplications which actually has forced the healthcare expenditure to balloon. Now, with HealthSapiens 2.0, we will be working with existing healthcare data providers because they already have amassed so much data outside of our ecosystem on our members or future members. And we will be able to extract that data. So we want to keep that data in these silos and be able to manage and share that data between authorized parties so data is more readily available when and where it is needed. This is extremely important. Data for the sake of data doesn't mean much. It's when you need that data. Because healthcare is episodical. You don't consume healthcare on a daily basis, although we are big advocate of patients being engaged with their health. And as a matter of fact, the healthcare model that we have in the U.S. and around the world today is not healthcare. It is sick care model. You only remember your health or remember to be checked by a doctor if there's something wrong.
Sure.
We are big advocates of reversing that. The reason why people are not engaged with their health, think about it, Jim. It's as if you have roughly an estimate of how much money you have in the bank, but the bank makes it so difficult for you to get your hands on your money. So you become disengaged. You look somewhere else. That's exactly what is the status of healthcare today. You don't know much about your data. You only get encountering doctors with data where something is wrong, and your data is scattered. It's very difficult to interpret it, and there's no price transparency of procedures.
And so let me ask you some technical questions, Karim. Do you have your own EHR that the providers document into, that you may have added information to? You have your own
Absolutely.
EMR, obviously. Yep. And is this a certified system yet, or working towards certification?
It is. It's a HIPAA compliant. I mean, you cannot obviously put patients with doctors and have them interact and being a service provider such as without having a HIPAA compliant store of information about the patient. That's mandated by law, and it's audited.
I know there's an aspect that where patients can just kind of reading some of the documentation on your website that can automatically extract data from other EMRs, other doctors. Now, does the patient do this, or could they sign up through your system if they are a client or a patient? I know there's a current certification requirement in the U.S. for certified systems have to allow access to third parties with appropriate approval to go through APIs and extract data. Is that part of what's going on? If a patient wants to get data from another EMR and bring it into your EMR? How does that work?
It's actually, the way it works is there's a two-step process. And first of all, we at HealthSapiens need to have a business relationship or an agreement with another data provider, so that when our patients request or our API is talking to the API of the provider based on a hashtag on identifying the members, the result needs to be a secured process and an agreement. Because chances are when you go and see a primary care doctor, whatever doctors, you probably signed off and have given away the right to own your data. That's pretty much the big issue. So there are some companies, and we don't want to mention names, on this podcast, actually they make a living of owning your data and selling it. So it's very difficult to come in overnight and all of a sudden ask them to give up their business model. So what you need to do, you need to kind of be able to work with them for the benefit of the client. And that's why blockchain is extremely important here, because blockchain will allow us to hashtag into the siloed, recognizing the information that needs to be recognized by not removing it from the place where it should be as a database, because blockchain purpose is not to store information. It's extremely expensive.
Correct.
But to seek out information and be able to permit the use of information at the request of whoever owns patients or doctors, so that we do not disrupt an existing legacy, but we actually take it to the next level.
So in other words, rather than extract data, you would in the blockchain have some type of hash pointer to data in another EMR. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, sure.
That's pretty much. But again, I mean, blockchain touches upon, and I can obviously move on and talk a little bit more about the use of blockchain within our ecosystem. So EMR is just only one component.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. I'd like to hear how you are leveraging blockchain.
So blockchain in itself, think about it, is essentially a distributed ledger, right? I mean, it's, you can liken it to like a spreadsheet that everybody in the network has a copy of. So when changes are made, everybody sees changes, right, that were being made. So this creates a scenario where it's possible to have an immutable record of the truth on and what happens when and between which parties. So additionally, the structure substitutes human beings making decisions with computer code or smart contract and streamlines the accounting side of things as well, right? This leads to efficiencies across the board, of course, leading to reduced overhead costs. In our case at HealthSapiens 2.0, here are a few ways we're utilizing blockchain. One, the physician ranking, which really doesn't exist, and this is something that actually we have patented as of May 17. We have 17 claims on it. So after care is provided, patients are incentivized to leave a review or rating of their physicians. And those ratings are recorded and viewed actually in real time. So additionally, our physicians review mechanism allows second review on provided care by other qualified physician, ushering and check and balances layers that helps to elevate the quality of care. That's extremely important. So for instance, we are moving away from fee to service. Unfortunately now, you go to see a doctor or a healthcare provider, you pay them, they render their service, you go away. What we are advocating fee based on income or outcome. So what happens is you go and see a doctor, you don't pay them, you pay them a certain amount, a percentage, whatever that percentage the doctor wants to receive. It could be 80%, it could be 70%, depending on the competitiveness of the market. The rest gets escrowed. So if you're happy with the outcome and you don't want to see a second opinion, you release the rest of the escrow once the consultation has been consumed. And if you're not, you can actually submit it not to arbitration, because arbitration is a negative thing, for second reviews, or other doctors can come in and actually stake to review the outcome of the doctor. So now we're not talking about you leaving reviews of doctors. Now you're talking about other doctors who are not related to the existing doctors will stake to review the outcome. And once the outcome is so if it's positive, then they agree with the doctor. The rest of the money gets released to the doctor, and some of it gets paid to the reviewer. And if it's negative, obviously the money comes to you minus the fee that goes to the reviewer. Now, what are we creating? We're creating, in essence, a market that did not really exist. There's no healthcare doesn't have a market, unfortunately. It's the only industry that you're discovering the price of the procedure after the fact. Now, what we are doing, we incentivize doctors to spend more time with their patients because there's an outcome that will be actually published and immutable that will actually be in front of their name. So doctors will be properly reviewed so they can actually properly display their the quality of their service. So you're going to have doctors with 5-star reviews. Let's assume it's a 5-star ranking system, over 100 procedures, and therefore they can command perhaps a more competitive for different price other than the doctor who pretty much spent less time with patients but have a 3.5-star review. So we leave it up to patients, quite frankly, to kind of seek out care from the providers that they would like. Some patients probably, they would like to go with the cheapest alternative because it's probably a low acuity, and some others that would like to pay up to see the top-notch doctors. And this system should be worldwide, similar to the FICO score of credit score. I mean, this is something that it actually will lower healthcare costs, provides more accountability, provides a market for healthcare. Quite frankly, there's no market for healthcare. I mean, it's very opaque, and because there's so many intermediaries, and their incentive is actually to keep the market from being transparent, so they can make more money intermediating, right? That's number one. So the physician ranking. Number two is the micropayment in the reward program. We strongly believe if people are properly incentivized to do the right thing, they'll be more likely to do it. Case in point, I mean, our reward pool enable us to incentivize patients to take better care of themselves, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, you're getting them more engaged by doing things like, completing their healthcare goals, having an annual checkup with a doctor, and so forth. So they get rewarded. Because why are they getting rewarded? Because they're doing positive things that will overall improve the ecosystem, but also improve their health. Blockchain technology let us track what rewards were triggered and by whom. Well, we can do the credit when credits are due to the patient with obviously the token that we will talk about. So those tokens can be used to pay for healthcare services or held like an interest-bearing health saving account and used when needed or cashed at an exchange for dollars or for any currency of their choice. That's extremely important. And remember in the beginning when we started having the conversation when we said patients are disengaged from their health because at any point in time you just assume that you're healthy or maybe you're not healthy, but there's no mechanism that actually incentivizes you to re-engage with your health. That's extremely important for us to kind of wake up into this because healthcare should not be, I'm sick, can you take care of me? It's, can I maximize the output of my energy? Can I live a healthy and productive life? As opposed to wear and tear of life and you just make an assumption. So you have to be making an assumption. We all are mortal, but ideally what we would love to have, we would like to have somebody live healthily and full of energy at the age of 85 and then just drop dead. That's the ideal. That's what you want to strive for. So what you want somebody to be as productive as they could be, and then as aware of their health and in touch and in tune with their health as much as they can be before they just leave this world. The third aspect of a blockchain that we are using is, as a matter of fact, the tokenization, which is creating an ecosystem that rewards good behavior and penalizes bad behavior, is the common currency, which is sort of a micro payment system that we incentivizing. HealthSapiens 2.0, which we are building, is powered by what we call the doc token. So you ever made in an arcade or a casino, you already been through this process of getting a membership card of a sort, and then you load point on your card, use point in the venue, etc. Right? So same thing here, except that you use the token in place of a membership point, or we call the doc. So the doc will be accepted and usable by everybody inside our ecosystem, whether it's patients, care providers, researchers, pharmas, anybody that abides by the smart contracts rule that we have written that incentivizes, obviously, a good behavior. So pretty much create a common currency where you get, you can use this service, but you can also get rewarded for good deeds. The fourth, which is obviously the electronic medical record, which is, I think you asked, which is something that is actually closest to our heart but it's not supposed to be just the focus of things. The electronic medical record are enablers for a healthcare provider to have a better assessment of any situation. So we'll be working, obviously, as I mentioned, with data providers to increase information flows. Information is extremely important. Securely extract them, hash them from siloed, and obviously make them more portable. Now, unfortunately, they're not portable. The process of getting any electronic medical record is extremely laborious for a variety of reasons. One, obviously, regulation is one, but also incentives are not there for people to share information. Remember, all these silos, they were built to protect data, not to share it. So now we came to an age when consumers are more comfortable sharing their data. I think it's high time for us to kind of get back into the ownership of the data that we are generating. So pretty much, that's the use of blockchain within our ecosystem. And
well, let me run to a couple other questions here. It's amazing how the time has flown by. We only have about 5 more minutes. Let me ask you some things about the business model. So there is a monthly charge, but then is there also a fee if I want to contact a provider and have a encounter?
That's actually a very good question, and I'm really happy that you mentioned this. We do believe that digital health, whether it is telemedicine or any form of it, is complementing or should complement the traditional healthcare. The traditional healthcare where you book an appointment with a doctor or provider of care, and you go and visit them. But now, with the advancement of technology, whether it's blockchain or it's derivatives, we do believe it's more efficient to have a system that benefits both parties. It benefits the patients to provide them with continuous access to healthcare, such as telehealth, digital health, artificial intelligence, combined with blockchain and digital health, and actually physically seeing a doctor. And that's what HealthSapiens 2.0 is doing. So HealthSapiens 2.0, when you use the doc token, it gives you the opportunity and the ability to book an appointment, virtual appointments with a physician, or actually to seek care directly from that physician. It's extremely important. As a matter of fact, it's also efficient, because if you have low acuity, or you have, let's say, bronchitis, or upper respiratory, or if you have a UTI or a small headache that is not concerning, sometimes it's much more efficient for you not to delay this because people are busy and seek first care by using a service such as the subscription-based model that we've seen. Especially, but now it's still an insurance-dominated industry. A lot of people have high deductibles. And unfortunately, you just don't want to go to the emergency room when you have a high deductible insurance. For a low acuity, that could have been solved by just having a call or a video conference with a doctor. An average trip to the emergency room, no matter what it is $1,500. It takes 6 hours, and it's not efficient. So that's why we are very big advocate of having a dual system that work together. It's good for patients, but it's also good for doctors. And also, it's not only good for the system overall, because if you really don't have an emergency, you shouldn't be going to the emergency room, because there are other people more deserving that require the care and the attention of the emergency room department. Emergency room and urgent care, to a certain extent, should not be the first place to seek care.
Absolutely. How would someone find out more about HealthSapiens, or how would they contact you, and what if they just want more information?
Absolutely. So we are. You can go to www.healthsapiens.com or www.healthsapiens.io. HealthSapiens is spelled like health, like we all know it. Sapiens is like Homo sapiens, SAPIENS. They can email us at info@healthsapiens.com. They can register to follow us on Twitter at #HealthSapiens or on Telegrams. And we are available 24 hours. So we are looking to expand our network. We're looking to expand our membership. And we will love you all to join us in reimagining healthcare.
I'm definitely going to check it out. When do you expect to launch HealthSapiens 2.0?
We expect to launch HealthSapiens 2.0 in the first quarter or the second quarter of 2019. We're working on the beta platform now.
Fantastic. Well, I can't believe it, but our time has just run through the hourglass. I want to thank all the listeners for joining us on this episode of the Tate Chronicles. I offer a special salute to my guest, Karim Babay. You can find more information on this show's program page at healthcarenowradio.com. And until we meet again, here's wishing you smooth sailing and safe harbors. Thanks so much, Karim. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. It's been a pleasure.